welcome to another episode of Horror Movie Night. Kyle's right there with me, making sure that you keep the fuck out of the water.
Stay out.
So today, we're going to a little lake. A nice little lake. It's a little placidy in there, but we're going to check out Lake Placid. Perfect follow-up to Killer Crocodile. We're just all up in these gators over here at Horror Movie Night. And I gotta admit, I only have one note written down, and all I wrote was, that was better than I remembered it.
Yeah.
I only have one note written down as well, and it's...
that was worse than I remembered it?
No, because I've never watched it before.
Okay.
No, it was actually an Oliver Platt quote. So... Well, when we get, you probably know which one I'm talking about.
There we go. All right. Well, a lot of this, Kyle, lots on your shoulders.
Oliver Platt. Yeah.
All of my notes are red, and most of Scott's are.
This was Kyle, and then he's just getting in on Matt's typical.
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes especially when we're recording, like. You guys
Kyle
back to
and
back.
Matt movie back to back.
Sometimes.
It's like
I don't know which one of you guys made me sit through.
Matt's driving the boat and I'm wakeboarding behind it on this one. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know about you, Kyle. This was definitely a movie that I feel like was on TV a lot for a while.
All the time. All the time.
I think this may have been one of the first times I've actually watched it from front to back in the order that it's supposed to be watched, because it was just like randomly on USA or randomly on TNT or randomly on Comedy Central even. I feel like this was like Comedy Central October.
It was on almost any cable network that it made sense to be on, which it tried to,
and some that didn't.
And some that didn't, right. And some that didn't, but it ran the gamut. I watched, I don't know, I must have only watched it once in full prior to this, and the same thing, Matt, like just bits and pieces, some edited, some unedited, like who knows what versions of it I had seen, or even if it was like Lake Placid 2, I don't know.
There's a Lake Placid 2?
I think there's
multiple.
4. Yeah, there's
4 Lake Placid movies?
3 or 4.
I don't think any of them are particularly good. I also think that eventually, I do think eventually Lake Placid got like roped into like Lake Placid versus the Anaconda or some shit.
Oh yeah.
There is a Lake Placid versus Anaconda, which is the 5th Anaconda movie, but without the remake. But
so I
don't know how many Lake Placids.
I'm looking at it now.
Okay.
There was Lake Placid, and then it says it was followed by 5 television sequels.
What?
That tracks, actually.
All the sequels were made for TV sequels. Lake Placid 2, Lake Placid 3, Lake Placid the final chapter, and Lake Placid versus Anaconda.
Wow.
What we should know by now is that you never trust when they say it's the final chapter, because it's not the final chapter.
There was also, in 2018, Lake Placid Legacy, which was the direct sequel to this one and ignored all the previous ones.
Wow. Okay. Betty White. What year was it?
2018.
Okay, so Betty White might have come back for that one.
She did not.
Oh, shit.
Because it was still just a TV movie, but you know who is in it? Joey Pants.
Yes.
He was not saying no to any amount of money in 2018.
No. Good for Joey. This was not really in my normal watching. It was just like in the cable TV category more than like the horror movie, like this is a fun one to watch category. But I did think it was apropos for the season and for my neck of the woods, New England. We're in Maine. I can't go to Maine. I'm allergic to timber. It's great.
It's also
a lot of great lines
worth noting, and then we'll dive into the plot summary with you. But like. Mm-hmm. This was kind of in this very weird, brief resurgence for Steve Miner making movies people cared about. So, to a quick breakdown of his career, gets his start Friday the 13th Part 2, Friday the 13th Part 3. Then he does 1985's House, which we love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Makes a real bad move on the C. Thomas Howell comedy Soul Man, which is a real unfortunate movie. But then had like a minor success with Warlock in 1989. then goes off the beaten path entirely from horror. Does Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken, Forever Young with Mel Gibson and Elijah Wood, My Father, The Hero, Big Bully with Rick Moranis and Tom Arnold.
Oh, yeah.
But then 98, 99, he does the 1-2 punch of Halloween H2O and Lake Placid.
That's pretty solid.
And then kind of promptly just goes into real trash action movies, including the Day of the Dead remake from 2008. And his last movie, Private Valentine, Blonde and Dangerous, starring Jessica Simpson.
Put that
Yeah, I was about
on
to say,
the Patreon list.
Kyle's going to want that for Patreon real bad.
What?
It's no
Private
Crossroads.
Valentine, Blonde and Dangerous. Are you?
It's about Megan Valentine, a down on her luck actress who enlists into the United States Army.
That doesn't sound like propaganda at all.
I'm going to
Starring
keep that
Jessica
tabbed up.
Simpson, Vivica A. Fox, and a bunch of other names I don't know. Oh, Steve Guttenberg. They got the Goot.
Oh, yeah.
Andy Milonakis. This was back when Andy Milonakis was someone people cared about.
We are.
Did
we
anybody
are
ever
way
really? Yeah.
It was waiting
No,
mostly.
you can say your piece about Andy Milonakis. I didn't mean to cut you off on Andy.
Did anybody ever really care about him?
I think Brian Kelly.
Well, that truly tracks because I know your brother, and I know he's got just the weirdest taste in comedy.
I cared more about Schmandy Schmillischmakis, personally.
Anyway, that's our very quick Steve Miller segment, and now over to
Steve Miner.
Steve Miner,
The
Steve
other
Miller.
non-Miller.
Man, I could talk for hours on Steve Miller. He was a joker and a smoker, and don't get me started on the Midnight Toker.
But that was all before he went into politics and became the worst person in America.
Man, wouldn't it be wild if that was the same Steve Miller?
I think that there's a significant age gap, but and somehow the age gap has made it so the younger one is more evil and therefore has less hair.
Evil.
Yeah, I was going to say Steve Miller from Steve Miller Band, still pretty progressive and kick-ass, I think, when I last checked. I was
As far
curious.
as I know, although
Yeah.
I could really do without ever listening to him live again. I had to watch them. Megan and I had to watch them open for Journey.
That's
That
right.
was like 9 years ago or something like that, and arguably the worst band one of the most painful famous band I've ever watched, just
That's a
because I
bummer.
fucking hate that style of music. I hate Steve
and I
Miller
saw
Band.
that was my second concert ever. My dad took me to see Steve Miller Band and George Thorogood and the Destroyers, and we left early.
That sounds like hell to me.
Yeah,
George
see, we
Thorogood?
left early.
Holy fuck.
We left early because I was mostly there for Steve Miller. The first song I ever sung in front of a live audience, The Joker.
Very nice.
You know,
Very nice.
I want to say that that's surprising, but no, it really tracks with who you are. The core of your being is all just summed up by Stephen Miller of the
Stephen
Stephen
Miller.
Miller Band.
The Stephen Miller Band. Anyway, now that we've gone on so many tangents and we haven't even said a single word about the movie, I think it's time for Kyle to start telling us a little
I'll say
bit about the
all the
plot
words
of Lake
about the movie for
Lake.
now,
Oh my
yeah.
God, I almost said Lake Placid.
Yeah.
Lake
Well,
Placid.
but I'm going to jump right to the end of the movie, not to spoil it, but my reaction. At some point in time, 20 minutes from the end of the movie, I would turn to Carly and I'd tell her, I think my drag name is going to be Lake Flaccid.
Blake Flaccid.
So I adjusted it to Blake, and she was like, I think you got to stick with Lake, because then if you go Blake Flaccid, you might have to explain. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like people might understand.
I
but,
think. Listen, it's.
it's already niche enough.
Yeah,
It's niche
I think
enough.
that you're good. I think that you can just
Blake
call Blake
Flaccid.
Flaccid. I think that
Lake
it's.
Placid. Okay, that note is done, and moving on. So
Do we each have one note for this? That's it.
that was
Thanks for listening, Jorge.
my only like shareable one. The other one are like plot synopsis.
Wow. This movie is just kind of like you have to exist and watch it. I'm going to be completely brutally honest with you guys. I did not enjoy my watch. I thought that it was not funny. It was trying very hard to be funny, and I found it to be insipid. I told Megan how much I hated watching it, and she was like, "But the cast is so stacked." And I'm like, "Yeah," and Stan Winston did all the practical effects, and it still
does it for you.
I mean, and this is the reason I never watched this as a kid is because, or when I was younger, is because I saw the trailer and I saw how bad the CGI was, and I was like, well, I don't give a fuck about a giant crocodile unless it's all practical.
Yeah. I would
or alligator,
argue
whatever.
My argument on this one for me is that this was the watching where I was like, I think that this movie mostly fails in all of the comedy that it tries to do.
Yeah.
But I do think that the actual gator moments, when they're using not a CGI gator, which is more than I remembered. Honestly.
Yeah, I was impressed with that too. Don't let me. I mean,
there was that, and you know what? I'm shocked at you, Scott, because boy, are there some decapitations in this movie.
There are a lot
you
of
do love
decaps
some
in it.
head trauma.
I do. So I mean, I guess maybe I'm being too harsh by saying I hated my watch.
Yeah, I think that this is a fine,
did not enjoy
perfectly
the humor.
fine movie. Yeah,
it's not something I ever want to watch again, and it's not something I would ever suggest to someone.
Yes.
But when there was
I think
blood,
that's fair.
I was happy.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree with you. I think a lot of the jokes don't work in this. I think that I get what they were going for, though. You're doing this movie, why not do like a sort of horror comedy? But as we've talked about so many times on this show, horror comedy is one of the most difficult balance beams to walk. And I think that this would have worked better if it was a straight up killer gator, like do it alligator style, right? Like Alligator is a straight up killer alligator movie that has really funny lines of dialogue mixed into it, but it never like neglects the reality of like, no, there's a big fucking gator that's eating people.
No one was taking this seriously.
No,
at
that's
all.
what I mean. The
And
main characters never seem that concerned, even after friends of theirs die.
Getting their heads eaten, and like there's some gnarly gore. Like the first kill, the Mountie or whatever he gets chewed in half. And he pulls him up out of the boat, and he's like, "Well, that sucks." He's not traumatized, and then like he and I guess Bill Paxton
Pullman.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bill Pullman. They watch some woman like leave. They just watch her ass as she walks away out of the general store, and I'm thinking, you literally just body bagged 2/3 of someone.
Presumably somebody you know.
Yeah, I would not be staring at an ass the next day.
Everybody grieves differently.
But no, like even with that opening scene, Scott, I think prime example, and Sam Raimi really mastered. Well, I would actually say Bruce Campbell specifically really mastered this. But there is, instead of playing it cool, I think that there's more comedy to mine out of like over the top what the fuck just happened. You know what I mean? Like like the nonchalant like, oh, that sucks is not as funny as if you pulled up the corpse and as it's like just getting visceral all over him, he's just like, what the fuck like as he's told, like that is like so much like undeniably funnier. Like
I would have gotten a belly laugh out of that, honestly.
That's more, but that I think is what defines, you know, everyone throws around like splat stick as a phrase, and I think that is like the splat stick thing is like the gore is so overwhelming and the characters are so overreacting to how much blood and gore is around them that's where it starts to become funny, is that it's like almost cartoonish. If this had leaned more into cartoonish gore, it would have been a better watch, I think.
Do you think that Evil Dead 2 kind of like created that? Well, I guess it wouldn't be Evil Dead 2, it'd be probably something like Dead Alive or...
No, Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2, I think, is what
Evil
people
Dead
point
2 is
to from the beginning.
87
and Dead Alive is 93.
Oh, it's 9. I always forget, guys. Oh my God!
No, it does feel like a late 80s
when we
movie.
When we did Dead Alive, I was like, this was 93, and Matt was like, yeah, and I'm like, it looks like the mid 80s, early 80s. It's just because it's New Zealand.
New Zealand.
It's literally what my conversation piece was for that episode.
I mean, I would agree. It's like the comedy that gets put into here just doesn't totally hit because it's all banking on dialogue lines where none of it then comes into play really with any of the horror, except for like a couple of the cheap scares of heads being thrown around and like really cheap stuff, followed by what's supposed to be, a funny line or a gag or whatever. But
it feels very 90s in that
White,
sense.
Yeah.
Also,
Betty White's the one who kind of pulls it together. I think like for both of those things as a character, but then she's really in it less. She's actually in it less than I thought.
Yeah.
Than I remembered, which was weird.
To answer your question, by the way, Scott, I did a quick Google search, which didn't help too much, but it seems like the consensus is that Evil Dead 2 is definitely where people started to point to it as a very specific type of comedy that was to be aped, but that ones that are worth throwing out there before it as in like a stepping stone to Evil Dead 2, Toxic Avenger, Reanimator, and Blood Feast from 1963.
What was the 1963?
Blood Feast.
Oh, Blood Feast.
Okay.
But I would say, 85 with like Reanimator and Toxic Avenger, I would say is like the beginning of like, this is so gory that it's comedic. And then Evil Dead 2 being the one that's just like, batten down the hatches, motherfucker. We're going all in.
We haven't done any Herschel Gordon Lewis. I made us watch fucking 2001.
Yeah, you did.
Oh no, Brian made you guys watch 2000 Maniacs.
Yeah, we watched 2000. We watched 2000. Yeah, 2000 Maniacs. No, 2001. Whatever the Robert Englund one was. We did not watch.
I brought Robert Englund to the table. I did not bring any Herschel Gordon Lewis other stuff. But we anyway.
We can figure that out. That's a whole.
We'll figure that out. That's another one.
We're almost 20 minutes in. We need to talk about this movie for a little bit at least.
Do we?
Luckily, there's not much to the plot here.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
at a lake in Maine, I guess he's a sheriff. Yeah, Sheriff Hank Keogh, played by Brendan Gleeson, brings one of the wildlife and game agents out to a lake to research something. I don't even remember what it was, but he comes, end up finding this giant crocodile, chews him in half, and then we have to get some other people involved, which includes Kelly Scott from she's a paleontologist from a museum. She gets called out there, which she doesn't really. It's kind of a funny bit, but it doesn't go anywhere, where like she's having an affair with her boss. Her boss then has an affair with another coworker, and then
that's Mariska Hargitay.
Yes,
Megan saw it over my shoulder. She's like, "That's Mariska Hargitay."
Yeah,
I can't
honestly,
say her last
on
name
paper,
to save my life. Yeah,
it's crazy. On paper, it actually makes it more difficult to read. I would not try to read her name. But yeah, Mariska. Yep. She is in there briefly.
We're Matt Kellying it real bad today.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm just sitting here enjoying it. Like it's not me for once.
She so her boss sends her out to Maine because it also gets the heat off him for a little bit. And out there is Bill Pullman, who is Jack Wells, who is the head of the Wild and Game Wildlife Agency. So all these people are getting together to kind of figure out what's going on, because there was a large tooth found in that victim. Now, they all go out to the lake. They're going to be in a super remote area. There's nobody around. Kelly is like, I didn't know that this was going to happen. Like, I am a paleontologist from a museum in the city. I'm not going to be able to handle this. But spoiler alert, by the end of this, she lets her hair down. And not only are they the only people out there, but Oliver Platt, who plays Hector, Hector, who is like a rich... I don't even want to say like a cultist, because he's not an occultist, but he has interest in crocodiles as more ethereal beings.
He's described as, on Wikipedia, a wealthy mythological professor and crocodile enthusiast.
Yes, I forgot he was a professor, but that really, like, he is woo woo. about the Crocs.
Yeah.
You know, and he's rich.
Just say he's a
rich as fuck. He comes
cryptid lover. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that really
That's
wasn't
what
a
it
thing
feels
back
like.
then, but
Because then we
that's
start
what
to
it is.
realize that he starts to think that there's more to this potential, because they don't think it's a crocodile out there. He believes it's a crocodile. Some people think it's a bear. Like, nobody's really sure what happened here, which is crazy because, like, Brendan Gleeson, Sheriff Hank, saw this man get chewed in half in the water. So I'm not sure why we're even, thinking it's a bear. But anyway. So they have now made camp. There's a few other people around. They also go and talk to the only person who lives near the lake, who is Mrs. Dolores Bickerman, played by Betty White, who had a husband, no longer has a husband. They have no record of it. She doesn't seem to care. And later we find out that she is. I'm jumping ahead, but it's important because it's also not really hidden. It's not a twist. It
Not
really
much,
happens kind of in the
no.
dead center of this, where they go and they're like, we think it's a crocodile. And she's like, I know. I've been feeding it. And we watch her feed it a cow, and that crocodile is the love of her life, and maybe it ate her husband too. Turns out it ate her husband too. So she's a sassy old woman. But there's out on that lake, when they go to sort of search the lake again, another officer gets its head bitten off, which is fantastic. There's a bear that gets attacked by the crocodile, which is also great because they're out there by the shore. A bear corners them. They narrowly escape, and then the croc comes out of the water and wrestles this bear. And it's pretty solid. So they have this like 30-foot crocodile in the lake, and they keep trying to figure out ways to get to it. And Hector has this plane that he is going to end up using to try and bait the crocodile. And the first time it doesn't quite work. His plane gets attacked, his ego gets hurt, and they have to then game plan how they're going to do this. So they're going to lure the croc with a cow. And this is kind of like the last 20 minutes of the movie. They're going to lure the big crocodile out. Some of them want to kill it. Some of it want to tranquilize it. Hector thinks that he has enough, tranquilizer to put this thing down. The cops aren't sure. So it's this little bit of back and forth while they are having a helicopter fly this cow around the lake. And night falls. The crocodile hasn't come out. The cow's getting tired. This is where I came up with Lake Placid. The plane crashes because the crocodile does end up getting a hold of it, and the croc comes on land. Kelly gets attacked underwater in a kind of fun attack sequence. She gets... At one point in time, they say that the crocodile can't attack underwater, so then she
don't think
dives.
that's true.
Which is, I don't know where that came from, but
Wikipedia
she dives back.
in 98.
Yeah, they're like, that was a weird AI response in 98 about crocodiles attacking underwater, but she dives back in, she swims to the broken down the helicopter, the crocodile chases after her, she gets trapped underwater, the crocodile attacks where she's at, but she escapes, and then the crocodile gets itself stuck in the helicopter. So this croc is thrashing with a helicopter necklace, and they end up tranquilizing it somewhat. They also start to talk about, if you look into the crocodile's eyes, it has all this soul and spirit, and so that's also playing into Hector and Kelly's desire to just tranquilize it. Sheriff Hank wants to shoot it. In comes Jack Wells with a gun, and instead of shooting it to kill it, shoots it to tranquilize it. So they end up being able to tranquilize it, but lo and behold, there's a second crocodile comes out. Sheriff Hank gets to blow it up. We get the best of both worlds. Both endings happen right there on shore. And then they're going to transport the crocodile away. Yeah. Florida wildlife officers are going to take the croc to Portland, Maine, to the city to at least try to figure out what they're going to do next. And Kelly might stay in Maine with Jack Wells. There's not a big love story, but they just kind of give goo eyes to each other every once in a while. And
It's true.
That's as romantic as we get. Everything is like just not where it needs to be. This is story wise. Like the comedy's not quite there. There's no real romance. There's not a lot of horror. Like everything is just like.
But there's
at a 6 or a 7.
decapitations.
There is
But
decapitations.
there is decapitations.
I
which
mean,
we love.
there's. I do think that the idea of the second gator showing up and then immediately being taken care of is a funny subversion of the trope.
Yeah.
Because, like, usually this is a trope that happens shortly after Act 2. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, no, we caught the mom or we caught the baby.
Yeah.
And, like, now the mom is angry and that's who we have to deal with for the next 25 minutes of the movie, and this one's just like, nope, fuck it, blow it up. We're not dealing with this again. Like, it's like stuff like that where I'm like, I get how on paper that is really, really funny. I just think by the time you get to that part of the movie, you are so exhausted with with the like failed attempt at comedy that like the good bit doesn't really hold up.
I did like Oliver Platt asking Sheriff Hank how he liked using the big gun. That was the other thing. It was a visual gag after that where like Florida wildlife comes in and everybody's like being taken care of. You see this aerial shot of the giant croc in the helicopter who's like they're kind of like treating its wounds. Then you also see Florida wildlife looking at the cow, and then nobody's around Oliver Platt, who is on a stretcher by the ambulance. Like everybody's taking care of all the animals and everything else, and nobody's near him. I just thought it was funny, and he asks about using the big gun again. Like there are like seeds of things that are there, but nothing ever totally comes to fruition. But we do know how we get Lake Placid sequels, and that's because Betty White is feeding baby crocs little pieces of bread. There's like 5 or 6 of them all swimming around her at the end, and she goes, "Oh, watch my toes," and that's and credits as we see a very cool aerial shot of a giant a truck with a trailer bed, flatbed, bringing the alligator down the road, which must have been like they must have stole that shot. That must have just been like production has to move this crocodile
moving
anyway.
this prop, and they're like, quick,
they're
film
like,
it.
oh, this could be good.
You know what? I do have to say one thing. It would have been so much funnier if Betty White's character at the end was like, "Oh, watch my toes," and she was missing some toes.
Yeah.
Oh, that missed opportunity.
So the other thing that I want to just shout out is the casting of Betty White in this. Because I wanted to check. I was curious. This was like not a great time in Betty White's career just yet. Like the Betty White resurgence hadn't quite happened. So like just looking like Golden Girls ended 1992. Golden Palace ran 92 to 93. And it's like you look at her IMDb TV credits and it's all either like one-off guest spots or like sitcoms that lasted one season and were then gone. So it's like I don't think that later on this movie would have been able to get Betty White. I think 1999 was that prime like 10-year lull in her career before the like 2000s kick in and everyone's like, you know what? Betty White's pretty great. And then, you look back and you're like, oh, and Betty White's been on like the progressive side of history her whole fucking life and she's a badass. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that she died like 2 weeks before she turned 100. What a fucking bummer. What a
it was very
make it to it. Like she was like, I think her birthday was like January 19th and she died like December 20 something. You're like, oh, you were so close.
So close.
99.
At a certain point though, that's just arbitrary,
Yeah.
Like
listen,
you're really going to enjoy being 100. Most people.
No.
Not going to enjoy
Listen,
being
that's
100.
why I'm a big Harold and Maude fan, man. That whole idea of like, listen, once you get past 80, you're just wasting everybody's time.
Matthew.
Kidding.
Real quick, guys. So I was looking at the release date for this episode, and it's 2 days before Ichabod goes to Michigan and plays with a band called Crocodile. And get this, they're a slam band. It's like a slam death metal band, and they only do songs about like crocodiles eating people. And it's like all just about crocodiles. And I messaged the Seth actually from Recorruptor, who's a fan and friend of the show. he and I have been, like we talked for a while since Ichabod came back, like, let's do some show swaps. And he was like, oh, I'll put you guys on this. It's the 1 year anniversary of their most recent record that came out. And so he put us on it, and he was like, oh, here are the other bands. I was like, I can't read that. And he said it's called Crocodile. They're like a crocodile slam band. And I'm like, if they don't have a Wilhelm scream right before like the ting on one of the cymbals before a breakdown, I'm gonna be like real disappointed, because can you just imagine like the crowd losing their shit?
Absolutely. I also wanted to say
I commented on the post when everybody like announced the show, and I'm like, can you please do this for me? And they're like, oh shit, we'll see if we can make that happen. But if they should have they should do the early 2000s thing, like the MySpace metal, where there were a lot of slam bands that would just do, they'd have some ridiculous horror movie sound clip, and then they would go into a song, and they could just do that.
They could get a whole bunch, man. It's the whole subgenre. I mean, you talk about shark movies, but there are croc and gator movies galore.
Just check our back catalog. We've done almost all of them now.
We've done almost all of them. Scott, and I just want to say, Ichabod Crane Goes to Washington was my favorite Jimmy Stewart movie, so I'm really excited about that for you guys.
Remember when James Cameron nearly directed a Spider-Man movie?
What about when we almost got Batman Year One with Joaquin Phoenix?
Or David Goyer's Flash movie that would have starred Ryan Reynolds?
Well, if you want to learn about all the unmade superhero movies, then check out Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
Hosted by Ben Wan and Alex Ramsey, every month we cover nostalgic superhero movies with deep dives into unmade scripts, early drafts, deleted scenes, alternate cuts, concept art, novelizations, and tie-in novels.
We also interview the people involved in making the superhero films of our childhood, with our past guests including superhero actors, directors, screenwriters, and concept artists.
So remember, that's Superhero Stuff You Should Know, or Superhero SYSK on social media. Check us out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, so Kyle, if you're having your friends over to watch some Lake Placid, what would you also have them watch?
Eaten Alive is the
superior.
I mean, there's just, when you're friends with a croc or a gator, you gotta show your friends, and that's what all Betty White was trying to do, and she was just trying to pull Eaten Alive.
All right, how about you, Scott?
Well, I wanted something that was at a lake that was actually funny, so I'm gonna go with Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
There we go.
Wow.
Scott, Kyle, this reminds me of something. I meant to text you this earlier today, but I'll just ask you right here on the spot.
Okay.
You still have like a running track of how many times double features have been picked?
I sure do.
At one point we were making our letterbox. We were desperately trying to figure out what our top 4 should be. It should just always be rotating through what the 4 most picked double features are.
I mean, that's honest. That's a kind of a great idea. Yeah. Okay. Heard.
But
I've been wanting to update it anyway, so that's great.
My double feature, and it's partially because of the scene that's happening right behind Kyle, if you're watching the video version of the show, where the crocodile jumps up and grabs a helicopter. And I remember that bad boy from Jaws 2. It actually has a lot of moments from Jaws 2 in this movie, a shocking amount. And as we know, Jaws 2 was kind of the Friday the 13th sequel of the Jaws franchise. So, it all makes sense with the Steve Miner of it all. So I'm content with my pick.
But what about the helicopter scene in The Last Shark? I really thought you were going to go with a more absurd.
Jaws 2 stole it.
Well, yeah.
I love that they sued them for stealing the plot of Jaws, but then we're also like, but that helicopter scene's got something.
Yeah.
We're gonna thank you. Anyway, maybe you have a better double feature. You can let us know on all of our socials, HMN Podcast everywhere. Shoot us an email, hmnpodcast@gmail.com. Get those listeners submitted picks in. I'm seeing a lot of them flowing in as we speak. August 1st, I'm going to say, is the cutoff on that, because we're going to start building our September schedule in August. Support the show. Buy some merch. Get a t-shirt at hmnpodcast.dashery.com, and support the show also on our Patreon, patreon.com/HMN Podcast. Kyle, what have you watched, listened to, etc., that you want to give a quick shout out to?
At this point in time, I'm not sure if anybody needs to hear a middle-aged white man's take on Obsession, but it was really great. Obsession was great. I opted not to put a letterboxd review for the reason that I just stated before, but you are a listener of the show, listeners, so you do have to hear a little bit of what I have to say, and that's your own fault. So Obsession's great. I particularly like a lot of the conversations between our main couple. They read and are acted like a live action text conversation. It's there's a toxic relationship sort of aspect to this whole thing, or maybe a little bit of toxic relationship and a little bit of like nobody knows how to talk about their feelings or what they need or want, right? Like, and that's the crux of the whole thing, is that this boy doesn't know how to talk about his feelings to the girl that he likes, and after having every open door to do so, he makes a wish to have this relationship with this girl, and that turns fucking haywire in a supernatural way. It's really, it's great. It's a great concept. It's executed super well, and I just loved it. I loved it. I loved how much the whole movie was about how nobody will talk about their feelings and like what that does to people. And it's worth a watch. I don't think you need to see it in a theater. It did fucking gangbusters, and it's doing great for horror all around. Yeah. But it's also weird. It's shot for I don't know if it was shot 4:3 or if it was just, but it's presented in 4:3, which is really strange to see in a theater.
Yeah.
The whole thing is 4:3, so that was odd. And there's a couple but all in all, really great. It's worth the praise that it's getting so far.
I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to theater to watch it.
You guys are gonna dig it.
I'm gonna rotate what I was gonna talk about next week to now, just because it's a perfect bounce off, because we're living in a very unique and interesting day and age where two independent horror movies, both made by 20-something-year-old YouTubers,
Backrooms,
crushed it and beat out Star Wars, outperformed Star Wars. But I have to say, I haven't seen Backrooms yet. I haven't seen Obsession yet, but I did see Mandalorian and Grogu. And I'm just going to put it on my growing list of things that annoy me on the internet, that, like, it's okay for something to just be fine. Like Mandalorian and Grogu was a perfectly fine extended or shortened season of The Mandalorian. If you liked watching Mandalorian seasons 1, 2, and 3, this is like season 4 was produced as a 2-hour movie. And it's got a ton of fucking monsters. It's got a ton of fun action. It's got some fun fight scenes. It is a perfectly fine action popcorn movie. And like the people who are like, it is the worst or second to worst Star Wars movie ever made, I just think, did you not watch Attack of the Clones? Like, Attack of the Clones is unwatchably boring to me.
Yes, I agree. But here's the problem that you are completely forgetting, is the Star Wars fandom is the most toxic fandom.
Oh, they're the worst. They are the obsession of fan bases.
Yes. So if you're like, wow, I just wish people could just learn to enjoy shit, it's not going to happen. It's not going to start with Star Wars fans.
It's not going to start with Star Wars fans. And that's not the only, like, I'm also of the mindset of, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, The Boys had the greatest series finale of all time. I'm not going to say that Stranger Things had the greatest series finale of all time. I'm not going to say that Euphoria had the greatest series finale of all time. But to say that any of those three shows were the worst series finale that's ever been made,
not. No.
You've watched two shows then, because like there's no fucking way. Like I hate that right now on the internet, fine is unacceptable as a result. Like, some things are just fine, and that's okay. And Mandalorian and Grogu, it's fine. It is.
Well, also that's a great point. I think if we're going to get, and there's a big resurgence in theater going experiences. It's right, but it's huge right now.
There has been a pop off on theater going experiences. There's been a pop off on CD sales suddenly. DVD, physical media is making a comeback. Like
Interesting.
I'm sort of optimistic about the future of the entertainment industry right now, because it feels like, hey, everyone's starting to realize that this streaming thing, you don't actually own shit. And at any given moment, your favorite song could just disappear from Spotify.
But that's the thing. We need to be okay with acceptable and fine and good. And like, yes, I think that like we always want to really like the thing that we are investing some money and time into. Like I get that. But like to then dismiss the whole experience of it, right? Because you don't like the thing. I don't know. I guess I'm just, because of the optimism of theaters coming back, I just want everybody to have a good time.
Yeah.
Same.
I think that maybe it's just a mindset.
But theater
thing.
etiquette needs to come back too.
Theater etiquette needs to come back. But it is like, to me, it's a tale of old as time to bounce off of all that stuff. Like, you appreciate good albums more when you've spent $15 on a bad album. You know what I mean? But like, even then, like, how many, I know for a fact that there have been at least a handful of songs that are some of my favorite songs that on first listen I was not into. But because it was like a CD that I bought as a kid and I put my $15 on the table, I was going to keep listening to that album to get my money's worth out of it. Like, that's the stuff that's lost in streaming. It's the thing that we talked about with, like, when you lose the video stores and the mom and pops video, is like, if you rented a movie, you were going to watch that movie for as many times as you could during the 2 to 3 days that you had that movie, because then it was gone and you were going to have to pay for it again. Where like with streaming, it's like, who the fuck cares? I can just stop this whenever I can. Like, it just, there is I'm glad that theaters are coming back. I'm glad that stuff like that is coming back, because I think that you do have more of appreciation of anything, especially the theater. Theater is the number one time where I am fully focused on the movie, because I have my phone off. I'm sitting in the seat. I'm watching the movie. I'm not like on my phone. I'm not trying to figure out who that actor is by checking the IMDb cast. Like, I'm invested. Even if it's a bad movie, I'm trapped and taking it all in. Right. But yeah, that's not much more to say. It's fine. If you're a Star Wars fan, it's fine. It's the fucking Ewok Adventures of the Mandalorian franchise. And then, Scott, take us home.
All right. So one quick little shout out to myself. If you, listener, are into physical media, my band Ichabod Crane has vinyl. It's gold vinyl. We have gold cassette tapes and we have regular CDs that you can purchase on IchabodCraneMetal.com. That's IchabodCranemetal.com. Go to our website, buy some stuff. You can also go to our Bandcamp, which is IchabodCraneMetal.bandcamp.com, and you can download the album. You can pay us $6 or whatever, and you can own the MP3. Most people don't give a shit about having MP3s. Everybody's just streaming everything, which is weird to me, because even with streaming, I have like whatever on my phone that I want to listen to, because I am of the mind that if it's just out in the ether, I will forget that album came out. Yeah, if I have a physical copy or even a digital copy on my iTunes, like my local library on my computer, then I will remember that it exists and I will be more interested in listening to it more often. I also am a big proponent of releases and not singles, and that's also something that we've talked about before, which is where there's a certain Gen Z kind of thing, I think, really, where Gen Z bands, they just do a single every 3 to 5 months, because that's how you stay in the conversation. You do a single in a music video, and that's your 3 to 5 month like matriculation. That's how you promote your shows and your merch and blah blah blah. And it feels soulless capitalism to me. I don't like it at all. That's not how I do my band. So anyway, IchabodCraneMetal.com. You can get yourself some physical copies of records if you want.
Your record just came on our rotation of morning records that we do on. I have like an alphabetized
with your
section,
child,
but like. Yeah, with my child, absolutely.
Oh dear God.
Well, then this morning was John Denver, so you can know the whole span of different things that we were listening to.
is it
in the
under
morning.
Crane?
The part. Do you not forget when when Kyle's son was scared about the puppies song and he was talking about Primus? Too many puppies.
Yeah. No, he's not scared of Ichabod Crane. No, I have a section that's alphabetized, but then that's full. So then everything else, there's just sort of like a hodgepodge in another rack atop that collection, which is now 2 or 3 years old. So that's why Ichabod is in that section. And Carly started just going through them, like in the mornings, getting ready, just like whatever is next in line. So eventually,
so your entire family was traumatized by my
everybody's
music.
involved, even the cats too. They try to stop the record sometime if I leave the cover up. So it just depends.
All right, so that was my spiel, but I do want to also give a lovely shout out to a movie that I just watched today. On Shudder, and it's only an hour and 1 minute long, and it is called Heresy. Now, it's a Dutch indie folk horror. Heresy is a stupid name for it. Its actual name is Witweven, which is, I guess, Dutch, or it's like it's like a woman in white, or like a wise woman, or like a crone, like a witch kind of. They're a mythological creature, more or less, and it was cool. Like it's beautiful. I mean, I think that it's a bit sparse in its story, in its plot line, and it is predictable in that way as well, but I was glad that it wasn't an hour and a half, 61 minutes. I think that the guy who spearheaded it has a lot of experience with special effects, because it is beautiful and it's got good special effects. It's got a little bit of body horror, as folk horror does. And I really recommend people give it a shot. It's subtitled, or at least I watched the subtitled version. There might be a dubbed version, but if you can stand watching subtitles for an hour, it was very, very good in my opinion. It's not like an instant classic or anything like that. It's more of like a movie maker's movie. I'm not calling myself a movie maker. I'm just saying that the person that made it is very much on the technical side, and I just thought that it was a cool little find. So thumbs up to Shudder for making my subscription worthwhile today.
Well, the other subscription that might be worthwhile is subscribing to Horror Movie Night on your favorite podcasting app, where you get new episodes every single week. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.